Welcome back. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon. Tina, I think I've seen that email, but I have not got a chance to. I remember Indus Valley one. I'll reply to it, but as I said, have not got a chance. I've seen your email. That getting 50, 60 emails every day. Don't worry, I'll answer it. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We'll wait one more minute, even though after starting after 7 minutes, the story is the same. Okay. I think this is better. I was too above, so it would have not showed you a lot of things. Can it be interpreted horse chariot was there in IVC? No. Horses were there, chariots have not been found. If horse-drawn chariots were there, it would have been a toy or something. We've not found that. So horses are there for sure. Chariots and all we're not sure. Should we watch last week's class for today's session? Not necessarily, but I have already introduced the role attack to everybody. I'll talk about it a little bit, but I presume that that is already done. This week we give independence to India. We've reached close to 25 years away from it. Today we'll reach till 1932-ish, 32, 34-ish, and then tomorrow 34 to 47. We wait one more minute. I categorically did not join. I allowed everybody to join in, but still. Little I will see the email. I am telling you there's a backlog. I know that. I'll clear it. Don't worry. If it's something, it's a query, you can post it here. And if it isn't something else, I'll get it sorted. Gaurav, I'll try to do it. Not right now, but by the end of this session, I'll push you the articles. Will yesterday's class get repeated here? Aditya, you are talking about evening batch. Then not today, but tomorrow after 3 o'clock. After 3 o'clock. You want to do between 40, you want to do from Wavell and cabinet, right? Where should you send your Hindu analysis questions? To iaslive@byju's.com. Give it 4 or 5 days, it will come automatically. iaslive@byju's.com. Or you can also send it to targetis@byju's.com. So it's totally your call. ISLive or target IS. Totally your call. Either way, you can send it anywhere. Okay. Perfect. So, optional history, yes, little. I'll try to send it today. I'll make sure. What is your? This is not your name, night. What is the email name? No, Pradeep. No. Okay, Keshav. ठीक है, Keshav. Apurva, you email me about it. I'll forward it to the people who can tell you about it. I am not the one, but surely would love to connect you with them. Mallikarjun, I have sent that email to everybody who is in concern. We'll get it sorted by Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, weekend. I've seen your 6 emails. I forwarded to everybody who is important and who can help you in that sense. I am not the one, but yes, even Sarbat sir has been intimated about it. He will get it sorted for sure. Okay. So last week, if you remember, we traversed a very important zone wherein we reached after bringing Gandhi to India till what we call today as the Rowlatt Satyagraha. The fact was, yes, the last class, what we met and what we did was 1919 Act, Government of India, and the concept of diarchy and why it was so important. Thereafter, we then talked about something called the Defense of India Act. The Defense of India Act 1915, which was then the father of the Anarchicals and Revolutionary Crimes Act 1919, which we call as Rowlatt Act itself. What we discussed last week in a way was that how now Gandhi was poised to start a new satyagraha, an all India satyagraha, which is important for the larger story of your preparation. So last week we have traversed a very important zone. Today agenda is very straightforward. I'll give you the timeline also, which is we will start at Rowlatt, then we'll go to Jallianwala Bagh. From Jallianwala Bagh, we will go towards the NCM, non-cooperation. From non-cooperation to Chauri Chaura, and from Chauri Chaura to Swarajist and no changes. Small topics. And from Swarajist no changes, we will then traverse the period of what we call as the 11-point ultimatum, and we'll try to reach till the round table conferences. We'll see what we can cover generally. The fact of the matter is, by Sunday evening, we should have reached independence. And then 16th is going to be a last class where I'll talk about post independence. Post independence can be done in a day, or what I'll do is I'll start early on Saturday at 10 a.m. and we can make up for everything what we need to do on 16th. 16th is going to be a last class. 10th, 9th, and 10th is this week is your full week. Okay. Now, Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act, problematic because gives too much power to the executives. While giving too much power to the executives, what it does is it creates an anarchical regime. And the problem was that it was going to impact everyone, be it Hindu, be it Muslim, be it the INC, be it anybody. The Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act 1919 was going to impact everyone. I hope you remember and have revised these sections and you understand why it is problematic. Are we clear about Rowlatt Act at least? Rowlatt Act at least. What the act was. We discussed it last thing on Sunday. Yes. Okay. Now Gandhi chooses this act because it impacts everyone. And whilst it impacts everyone, the most important concept is that he needed an all India level movement to launch himself. And this is something which he found as a very interesting case because, as I said, Home Rule League or anybody, it impacts everybody. Now, the program which Rowlatt Satyagraha had been decided for, and again I'll give you a basic overview here. The program which was decided was that on 6th April 1919, Gandhi was going to go for a all India Hartal. That all India Hartal was something in which Gandhi would be launched as a very important personality. He was launching himself. He also talked about different forms of struggle, for example, non-cooperation somewhere, for example, fasting somewhere. His ashrams were asked to do constructive work. The fact of the matter was he was just testing the waters that can we go for an all India level Hartal on 6th April 1990. Now, Rowlatt Satyagraha ironically is not known for the Satyagraha, but for something which happened on 13th April 1919, which is basically the Jallianwala Bagh incident. And the real and true picture of Jallianwala Bagh will basically change the perception of the British in front of the Indians itself, and collaboration is going to now become a little bit more problematic. So, the simple point was that after Defense of India Regulations 1919, again repeating what we did last week, was used for the Gadar movement generally because it took or to gave too much power to the executives, preventive detention, internment, restriction of writing, speech, and movement. This was given to Sidney Rowlatt to take as a consideration that can it be applied further? Yes, it can be applied further. It will be passed as anarchical and revolutionary crime 1919. And we know that it is a very bad act because no appeal, no dalil, no vakil. The fact that everything was suspended. You know habeas corpus, can be jailed for 2 years without trial. The fact that you can be only been seen in front of a three special judge, that too no Indian Evidence Act laws. And if you're tried for treason, you are more or less on suspicion taken anywhere you want. Now, this provisions made this act a problem. And that is why Gandhi will see it as a moment to then launch himself at the all India level. Gandhi's intervention before this was Champaran, was Kheda, and was Ahmedabad. And none of them were all India level issues. None of them. What they were localized issues. So what he's doing here is that he is basically launching himself over and above the ideas of just a peasant thing or indigo or workers. He's trying to go for a bigger movement at the all India level. So Gandhi will then organize what is called the Swadharma Pratna Sabha or Satyagrah Sabha, Swadharma Pratna Sabha. As I told you, Gandhi always uses this wheel of arguing that he is a religious person, but that was to basically mask his own nationalism in front of the British. And he will ask the Home Rule League leaders to start campaigning for him or will help campaigning about Satyagraha. This is a very important point that Gandhi used the Home Rule League movement quite a lot because the Home Rule League movement had a base. So what he did was that he asked Home Rule League that you help me and we should go forward in this Satyagraha. He will give different forms, which is, for example, nationwide hartal, fasting, civil disobedience of specific laws, imprisonment, courting arrest. The fact was he was just testing the waters when it came to how prepared were the people of India. Now, this everybody knows. This everybody knows that at the end of the day, for the first time, everybody was given a direction. For the first time, peasants and artisans were also made a part of the struggle. And for the first time now, Gandhi was talking about everybody's salvation. The simple point which remains is what happens further is more problematic than what Rowlatt Satyagraha was generally. Are we clear about this moment till this point? That do we understand why Rowlatt is so important and why over and above that Rowlatt, can there be a larger movement or not? Do you understand the importance of Rowlatt? Because now I'm going to tell you something which you most probably don't know, which is Jallianwala Bagh and what happened in Jallianwala Bagh. Okay. Now, see, 6th April 1919 was quite successful. But before it and after it, things were happening in India. Even before 6th April came, people were on the streets, little bit of violence was happening. But when we talk about 6th April, it's a very good, successful hartal. Gandhi was able to show that he had become a national leader at the larger level itself. Now, our focus is not where Rowlatt was very successful. Our focus is rather towards Amritsar and Punjab. See, this 6th April Hartal was very, very successful across India, Calcutta, Bombay, Delhi, Ahmedabad, everywhere. You see proper level of resistance, people coming on the streets. It was an important moment. But things were going to become very problematic very quickly in Punjab. Now, people, why did Jallianwala Bagh happen? I'm going to ask you this question. This will solve most of the problem. Why did Jallianwala Bagh happen? What is the reason? World War One. Why did Jallianwala Bagh happen? Baisakhi Fair. Teach Indians a lesson. General Dyer. Congregation of people under section 144. Very good, Samita. Just hold on to that thought. Huh? We revolted and General Dyer took action. Shoot Indians. Punjab members were arrested. Leader Saifuddin Kishli and Satyapal are referring to. More revolt. Punjab. Baisakhi thought that they were strike, but people were at fair. Sedition. They were meeting, going on. They thought. Okay. None was not killed. Marcella Sherwood was not killed. She was beaten up. 144 gathering of people in incentive to learn a lesson, protest against Rowlatt Act, Rowlatt Act, Rowlatt Act. Okay. Okay. So what you are telling me is standard things, which is people were there, section 144, martial law was there, this and that. It was martial law, not basically curfew. Saifuddin Kishlev and Satyapal arrested. Okay. Now, in order to understand 13th April, you need to understand what happened on 9th and 10th April. If you understand this, you will understand why Jallianwala Bagh happened. And most of you are talking about a martial law, and there's a lot of new research, my own research in this area, which questions this martial law on 11th April, which I will tell you what it would have been and what is the issues with regards to that. So let's talk about Amritsar and Punjab specifically. Now, when we talk about Punjab, Punjab felt the most betrayed by the Rowlatt Act. Why? Because Punjab had contributed quite a lot to the First World War. And in the First World War, Punjabi soldiers had fought for the British in the Central Asian sector, in and around Israel sector, with the Ottomans generally. The Indian soldiers and specifically Punjab sent generation after generation in the battle, and close to 1.5 lakh to 2 lakh youth were killed from Punjab in the First World War. And therefore, generally, we believe that Punjab was expecting a reward. Punjab was expecting a reward that they had contributed so immensely to the whole system itself, to the British efforts itself. And Punjab wanted something for this effort. Every household had lost somebody in the war, and Punjab was expecting something. But what did they get after the war? 1918 war ends. They expected a reward. What did they get? They got the Rowlatt Act. Now this is basically counterproductive. Punjab and the Punjabis are expecting a certain type of reward, but they were given the Rowlatt Act. Rowlatt Act, under which now they can't even tell what the British should give them, or any form of protest is not allowed only. So in Punjab, generally between 6th and 9th April, there is a lot of anger which is developing. Anger is developing. It is becoming more and more compounded. It is becoming more and more pronounced. And what happens is that on 9th April 1919, two very important leaders of the Punjab Congress, Dr. Satyapal and Saifuddin Kishlev, these two leaders will be arrested under Rowlatt Act. Now, how would I feel as a Punjabi? Lost 2 lakh of their youth, and two of my most beloved leaders are gone. Now the anger is further rising. And this feeling of cheating, that you were offered palak paneer or matar paneer and you were given a karela. Now Punjab anger is basically rising and becoming more and more. And on 10th April, something very dramatic happens. On 10th April, what happens is that the British try to break a crowd which was protesting against the arrest of Saifuddin Kichlev and Dr. Satyapal. But in Amritsar, it goes out of hand in the sense that generally, remember, the lieutenant governor is a person called Michael O'Dwyer. Dyer is different and Michael O'Dwyer is different. O'Dwyer was the lieutenant governor. He is generally considered to be very harsh, used to use aeroplanes, strafing means which is shooting from the air to the people to disperse them. He is a very sadistic, very problematic officer. And in Amritsar, he basically gives shooting orders that if you are not able to disperse the crowd, shoot on them. But the anger of the First World War and the anger of their leaders gone will come out on 10th April very badly. Basically, what will happen is 5 to 6 Europeans will be burnt alive. All were employees within banks in Amritsar. All the furniture will be drawn out. It will be put on fire as a bonfire, and literally 5 to 6 Europeans were thrown into this fire. On a separate occasion, on a separate instance itself, a nun, she was traveling from the church to her hostel. Her name Marcella Sherwood. She was picked up by a crowd on her bicycle and beaten up and thrown in the streets of Amritsar. And by the night, though everybody had dispersed, Punjab's anger had come out on 10th April with 5 to 10 Europeans dead, a nun beaten up, and the British now are in a way a little bit in shock, but in anger that how were the Indians able to do this? Now, basically, nobody talks about 10th April too much. Because if you don't talk about 10th April, you will not understand why Dyer did what he did on 13th. Basically, the Jallianwala Bagh incident was the British revenge of this instance. 1857, what did they do? They had very ruthless comeback. Same way, 13th April 1919, Jallianwala Bagh was a British response to the 10th April violence. Though everybody had forgot about it, everybody's anger had come out, but still it was about 10th April 1919 that how can the Indians do something like this? Now, as soon as this happens, on 10th April 1919, we have what is called as the Punjab violence or Amritsar violence. And on 11th April, on the request of O'Dwyer calls a regiment under a person called Dyer. I'm obviously not going to take his whole name, which is Brigadier General Dyer. He does not deserve to be called that. But Dyer came with the Gorkha regiment, and he was given the task to do something about what happened on 10th. Now, apparently, first I'll ask you a question and then we'll answer that question. When you will become an IAS officer? You will become an IAS officer. So you control a district, you're a DM. That is called civil administration. That's called civil administration. Now there's a terrorist attack which happened in your district. So the brigadier of that area comes to you and says, we want to impose martial law. Martial law means military rule. So he will say that I, as brigadier, want to basically take control of your district. You have to give power to me. Now, you tell me would you give this power orally? Ethics question. Would you give this power orally? Obviously, no. What would you do? What would you do? What is the first thing which you do? Very good. Very good. Already an IS officer. Think like an IS officer. You will, as DM, write a document saying, memorandum saying that on this date, this time, because of a terrorist attack, I dash am transferring power to Brigadier General Dash for the reason and for this period. So basically, it has to be a formal transfer. This is called a formal transfer. Martial law can only be proclaimed in formal transfer, and martial rule can also come only under formal transfer. Now, ironically, if you will go into the Hunter Commission is the commission which was established after the Jallianwala Bagh incident. It had two reports. One is called majority report, it was called minority report. Majority report, 4 people Britishers, minority report, 3 people Indian. The minority report says that neither was the martial law proclaimed, and second, no formal transfer from magistrate to Dyer. Now, this means that whatever Dyer is going to say, this is proven research, my own research, whatever Dyer is going to say and whatever he's going to do on 13th was illegal. Ironically, martial law was proclaimed after Jallianwala Bagh on 14th April. As of 11th April, the martial law was illegally proclaimed. No formal transfer had happened, and it was an oral transfer by O'Dwyer telling the DM to give power to Dyer. So the concept you would have heard in a lot of these books and would have heard or seen in a lot of movies that outside Jallianwala Bagh there was no notice saying that it was martial law curfew is there. That was not a mistake, or that was not by design that Dyer had not pasted something there. That was because Dyer could not paste it because it was an illegal transfer. So he can't proclaim that martial law is there. So that gap was thought to be a mistake, but it is actually deliberate. Martial law is when the civil administration is taken over by military. When the military takes over the district administration or the civil administration, it's called martial law. Martial meaning military law. So very clearly, no martial law, no formal transfer. So when in front of the committee, when in front of the committee, Dyer is going to say, I was doing my job. Was he really doing his job? Sir, can we say people don't know that martial law is proclaimed? The martial law was never proclaimed. People would, or how will people know if it is not formally transferred only? We tend to think that it was a deliberate move by the British not to tell the people. But how can you tell the people when it is not proclaimed only? Pradeep, understand this point. People did not know it was martial law because martial law was never properly proclaimed only. So the simple point is that Punjab violence was the moment in which the British became aggressive. And no martial law and no formal transfer had been happening. And why am I emphasizing this? Because every book will say that martial law was proclaimed on 11th. But it is not true. Martial law was proclaimed on 14th. Jallianwala Bagh was an overreach by the British. Jallianwala Bagh was something which should have not happened, and everything which Dyer is going to say is going to be a lie, because he did not actually proclaim martial law properly. Because if it had done it, then there would have been announcements, then there would have been notices across the city. That did not happen. If I have established to you this point that it is a properly illegal concept, then I would like to now talk about another aspect, which is what happened on 13th. Yes or no? So transfer of power to Dyer happened on 14th. Yes. Martial law properly, oral transfer was there, which is illegal transfer, on 11th. Formal transfer was there on 14th. So as per Government of India record, it shows 14th and it should have shown 11th. And Dyer's most important defense was people were illegally sitting there. People were illegally sitting there. But basically, people were not illegally sitting there. You can't see, the problem is nobody's going to ask you this in the examination. But understand this point, don't write this because this is new research. Go with 11th April only. But I am trying to demystify something more than what you already know. So if you actually understand this gap, you understand the whole event itself. People tend to believe that the British were doing something unprecedented. No, the British were intentionally doing it. Illegal transfer to formal transfer. Everything was very well planned. So now the British are seeking revenge. Now the British are seeking revenge. And the revenge is that on 13th April, they are seeking revenge for 10th April. Illegal non-formal transfer has happened. 13th April was Baisakhi. 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 And on Baisakhi day, see, Amritsar people as it is did not come out too much. The Golden Temple is there. And there's a Bagh next to it, which is called Jallianwala Bagh. The peculiarity about Jallianwala Bagh is that it has a very small entry and exit. Very small entry and exit. Only one. With a well here. Is it direct revenge by misusing power? Yes. Now, people from neighboring villages, oblivious of that Dyer is now moving around in Amritsar looking for an occasion, people will go to the Golden Temple and then they will go and sit in the Jallianwala Bagh. This is a standard thing. Jallianwala Bagh was a picnic spot. People from multiple villages used to come and then sit and enjoy a good lunch and dinner here. So Jallianwala Bagh was not something new. It was always a tradition for most of the neighboring villages, people to come to the most holy site for the Sikhs, which is Golden Temple, and then go and sit in Jallianwala Bagh. Now, what we believe is that close to 10 to 15,000 people were there in this bag itself. And in the corner of this bag, there was a protest going on. And the protest was that there was a small political gathering which was talking about the arrest of Saifuddin Kichlev and Satyapal and talking about the Rowlatt Act. But 99.9% of the people sitting in Jallianwala Bagh had nothing to do with this, and it was literally a non-political crowd. Now, Dyer gets to know that there is a crowd which has gathered in Jallianwala Bagh. People tend to say that the gates of Jallianwala Bagh did not have any warning. Obviously, it would not have any warning because there was no formal transfer only. But even if there was a warning, it was too small to be actually of any purpose. Martial law curfew had been applied. More than 3 people cannot gather one place. But again, that law is that argument that it is curfew and martial law is also not correct, because that law automatically becomes illegal if the transfer is illegal. So everything between 10 to 14 they're doing is actually illegal only. Now Dyer gets to know that Jallianwala Bagh people have gathered. So he now reaches with his troops. In his truck, he had two machine guns, what are called wheel-drawn machine guns. They can fire close to 300 rounds a minute each. And the fact was that it is a very big machine gun. It's a very, very big machine gun. And it is on wheels and it needs to be carted around. Now, the first attempt of Dyer was to actually bring in the machine guns. He locked all the gates of Jallianwala Bagh, exit, entry, whatever. He basically brought in these machine guns and tried to get them inside the the premises. But unfortunately, fortunately for us, and Dyer had been shown has been shown on official records having being displeased by the fact that the machine guns cannot go inside. If this machine gun would have gone inside, more people would have died because much higher round rate would have been fired. Now he will ask the Gorkha regiment Indians to stand in two files, one standing and other sitting, and he will ask them to be in two files, and he will ask them to shoot without any warning, without any any form of moment of disbursement, without any chance to people. 1650 rounds will be fired. 1650 bullets were fired. That is officially accounted for. Most of the people either died of stampede or drowning because of throwing themselves in the well or by bullet wounds. One of the persons of a child who was shot in the leg was Udham Singh, who will become important later. But Jallianwala Bagh shook the nation. The British, according to British records, 376 were killed, 500 were injured. According to the Congress Committee inquiry, it was 1500 wounded, 1000 killed. But it is believed that at least 2000 to 3000 people died and 5000 were injured in this instant. Jallianwala Bagh was a dark moment in Indian history. The British had now shown their real face. The masking of colonialism was gone. Rabindranath Tagore will give up his knighthood. Gandhi will give up his Kaisar Hind tag, which he had got in South Africa. The simple point was that Jallianwala Bagh was unprecedented and the British revenge was unprecedented. On 18th April, Gandhi is going to withdraw the Rowlatt Satyagraha and say that he was not ready for such a moment and the people of India were not ready. 14th to 16th April, the people on the street where Masala Fairwood had been beaten up, people were asked to crawl on their bellies. Flogging, torture, everything was done. Dyer had taken revenge for 10th April. And now Gandhi knew one thing. Gandhi knew, and this you should also know. In this instance, Gandhi confirmed to us also and to the world that violence could never be the way of getting Indian independence. Because if we did violence 1%, they would do it 10,000%. Because on 10th April, there were 5 Europeans dead and 1 nun beaten up. Dyer gave the ultimate response to it through an inhumane and unprecedented act of Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And till today, it is considered the turning point of British character in India because they fully showed it to us. Now, a drama will happen called the Hunter Commission. The Hunter Commission will be established by the Secretary of State, saying that we need to figure out what happened. This Hunter Commission report has two reports, as I told you, a majority report and a minority report. Minority report tells you the real picture. Majority report is much of an eyewash. Dyer was not court-martialed. Dyer was not punished. Dyer was just asked to resign. According to the committee, Dyer was acting within his own rights, and Dyer basically did not face any consequences of what he did. Rather, in London, because he lost his job, the Morning Post will set up a fund for his salary, in which even Rudyard Kipling will contribute 20. There will be a total number close to 26 or 30,000 pounds will be collected for him. House of Lords will commend Dyer for what he had done on 13th April in his support, saying that he had taken revenge for 10th. What should we write in the exam? You talk about the revenge aspect is true. I am just telling you the illegality of the martial law. Jallianwala Bagh, half of the people don't know, is a revenge for 10th April Amritsar violence. Dyer will not be honored in Britain, but will be supported by Britishers for sure. We didn't get the satisfaction of killing Dyer because he died of TB by 1927. But Udham Singh, who was witness to this whole thing, traveled to London and he shot O'Dwyer as a way of taking revenge for Jallianwala Bagh. You write martial law was proclaimed on 11th April, and that in turn martial law was not under consideration. That is why Jallianwala Bagh happened. You write what you want to write. You write the basic story. I'm trying to tell you an alternative understanding, but the unfortunate truth is the NCRT will not talk about that. So this is Rowlatt Satyagraha for you, and this is Jallianwala Bagh for you. I'll read it out from the PPT, and then we can consolidate. Amritsar violence plus martial law conspiracy, Baisakhi small protest massacre. Yes. Amritsar violence will happen. Illegal transfer. Martial law will be proclaimed. Apparently, Jallianwala Bagh will be a revenge for 10th April violence, and thereafter, the British did not even punish Dyer in that sense. O'Dwyer is nothing but the lieutenant governor. The lieutenant governor will be shot by Udham Singh. Dyer will die natural disease-stricken death in that sense. So let's read this story out. In Punjab, the situation was very explosive due to wartime repression, forcible recruitment, and ravages of diseases. The Lieutenant Governor of Punjab, Michael O'Dwyer, said to have used aircraft staffing against protesting people also. Now, Amritsar was the worst affected by violence. In the beginning, there was no violence. They just shut down everything. On 9th April, Saifuddin Kichlev and Dr. Satyapal will get arrested. This caused resentment against the Indian protesters who came out in thousands on 10th April to show their solidarity to the leaders. Soon the protest turned violent because the police resorted to firing on some of the protesters. Tensions ran high. In the rioting that followed, 5 Englishmen were reported to have been killed. Marcella Sherwood, an English nun, had been beaten up whilst going back to her hostel. Now, troops were sent immediately to quell the disturbance. Dyer was a senior British officer responsible for imposing martial law and restoring order, but we know that it is actually not true. By then, the city had returned to its calm and had become peaceful. Dyer, however, issued a proclamation on 13th April forbidding people for leaving the city without a pass or for organizing demonstrations, processions, anything more than 3. Again, illegal because he had not got the power properly. On Baisakhi Day, a large crowd of people, mostly from neighboring villages, unaware of the prohibitory orders in city, gathered in Jallianwala Bagh. Local leaders also had a small protest meeting at the venue. 20,000 odd people, non-political people, had gathered there. And though there was a small gathering for the Rowlatt Act and Saifuddin Kichlev and what we call as the Satyapal issue, but still not very properly what we call as it's not a political crowd. Now, Dyer will arrive with his men, block all exit points, and open fire on the unarmed crowd. No warning was issued, no instructions were dispersed or given. The unarmed gathering of men, women, children were fired upon. 1,650 rounds were fired. Official data, according to British, 379 identified dead, 1,100 wounded. INC will say 1,500 injured, 2,000 killed, 1,000 killed. We only know one thing, which is the precise number of bullets was 1,650. The incident was followed by uncivilized brutality on the inhabitants of Amritsar. Martial law was proclaimed in Punjab, public flogging, humiliation. People were asked to crawl on their bellies on the road where Sherwood had been assaulted. Entire nation was in shock. Rabindranath Tagore will give up his knighthood. British Gandhi will give up his Kaisar-e-Hind. Gandhi, overwhelmed by this atmosphere, withdrew the movement on April 18, 1919. And now what will follow is called the Hunter Commission drama. The Hunter Commission under William Hunter had three Indians minority report: Chinmanlal Harilal Selvet, Pandit Jagat Narayan, and Shehzada Sultan Ahmad Khan. They all unanimously condemned Dyer's action, but the commission did not do anything. In fact, the House of Lords endorsed Dyer's action, and the British public showed solidarity with Dyer by helping them under the Morning Post, a newspaper, collect £30,000 for him, a famous contributor being Rudyard Kipling. Hunter Commission did not impose any penal or disciplinary action against Dyer, who was basically asked to resign. The Congress will on its own establish an inquiry commission. Motilal Nehru, C.R. Das, Abbas Taibji, M.R. Jayakar and Gandhi will be the member of it. Congress basically criticized Dyer's action as inhumane and said that there was no justification for what he had done, even if martial law had been proclaimed. And very simply, the only satisfaction we will get is on 13th March 1940. Sardar Udham Singh will kill O'Dwyer, the lieutenant governor, who basically sanctioned this massacre. He had borne the name Ram Mohan Singh Azad to show Hindu-Muslim unity. Dyer had already died by 1927. Udham Singh was martyred, but in 1952, after independence, we have given him the honorary title of Shaheed Udham Singh. With this, the Rowlatt Satyagraha is done. Are we all clear about this? If we are, I give you a short breather and then we go to NCA. This is going to be the class. This is going to be how we are going to movement after movement after movement. Rowlatt Satyagraha, do you understand it? I'll give you one question also. 1 second. There's one question which came out of Rowlatt Satyagraha. You can do that. Clear? Okay. 1 second. I'm just finding it. It's somewhere in between. It will tell you, it will give you an idea whatever question can come. This. Okay. With reference to Rowlatt Satyagraha, which of the following statements are correct? The Rowlatt Act was based on the recommendation of Sedition Committee. In Rowlatt Satyagraha, Gandhi tried to use the Home Rule League. Demonstrations against the Simon Commission coincided with Rowlatt Satyagraha. Come on. Gaurav, I told you I'll send it to you by the end of this class. It should be in your dashboard also, but sure. Perfect. 60% totally correct. Simon Commission is 1927. This is 1919. Incorrect. Rowlatt Sedition Commission, yes. Says what was Sidney Rowlatt? Did he try to use home rule league? He did. You can manage this type of question now? You can? Yes? So this area is clear to everybody? Okay, perfect. So we come back and we start non-cooperation. I'll give you a timeline before that. Right now, you just consolidate on this. We'll come back at 1:10 and we'll take the story forward. There's no glitch. Naveen, you just joined. You have joined at exactly 12:59. Welcome back. So obviously you will find it as a glitch. Okay. Now we have been covering a certain timeline, and this is the timeline we have to now cover. And there's a parallel timeline which converges in 1919. This is called the First World War timeline. It started in 1914 and it ends in December of 1919. And thereafter, we have the Treaty of Versailles, May of 1920, then 1st August 1920, 31st August 1920, then September 1920, and then December 1920, and then 1922. This is basically what we have to cover. Here you have Treaty of Sevres. In between this, it is called the Khilafat movement. Movement. 1st August, INC, rather not INC, but Tilak's death. Informal endorsement of NCM and Khilafat. Calcutta special session. Nagpur session. And this is called Chauri Chaura. Chauri Chaura. NCM. So Calcutta special session, informal approval of NCM, formal approval, and changes in INC, and thereafter Chauri Chaura. Chauri Chaura is the end of this basic timeline. Now we have already seen Hartal, Jallianwala Bagh, and the concept of withdrawal of Rowlatt Satyagraha. Now, if this part of the story is clear, I would now like to talk about Khilafat and move towards non-cooperation. Can we do that? Yes? Everyone's on the same page? Okay. Okay. Now, Vivek, stop it. Literally stop it. I can see all your messages and I will not entertain anything. I'm literally telling you. No, sir. Repeat, sir. This, sir. That, sir. Don't. Literally don't. We are in a very critical zone of our national movement. If you can't listen, if you can't listen, because somehow समझ नहीं आ रहा था. So कान खोलो और आँख खोलो और क्लास में बैठो. Stop typing what is the dot concept, what is this, what is that. I really don't care. So समझने के लिए you have to be actually attentive in class. So now you're becoming famous with every teacher. I already know about you very well. So don't do it. I know what happened in recently with Mukesh sir. I know what you did in science and technology. I know what you're going to do here also. So hotspots, if you will tell names of different ideas of dolphin and turtle, that's not how things work. So start concentrating. If not, then I'll start to ask you questions. So literally for the past half an hour, I'm looking at your messages and trying to ignore, but it has become too much now. So my biggest request to you is there are much more concentrating students here. Be one of them, and if not, don't waste your time or my time at the same point of time. Is non-cooperation a big break for Gandhi? Break की बात हो रही है. He's the actor. It's a movie he's doing. So if I'm ignoring your messages, I'm ignoring it categorically. So Vivek, I request you, सच pranam hai aapko ki that you please concentrate in class. Because if you really don't understand, I know when you don't understand. Stop concentrating on things which don't matter. We have a long day today and a long day tomorrow. We have very critical things to do. So start concentrating and ask genuine questions. Yes? So I really don't have any patience right now to entertain any form of unnecessary comments. Very critical zone. Most of the questions come out of what we do today and tomorrow. Okay. Now, Jallianwala Bagh is in itself a major moment, and 10th April you don't add Gokul, that's a separate timeline. If you see last week's timeline, you will see it. It's a major moment and dark spot on British rule in India. And these are called, the whole thing which happened in Amritsar and generally Jallianwala Bagh is called Punjab wrongs. Punjab wrongs, wherein you basically bring in Rowlatt and the very bad and aggressive response of the British. Now, whilst this is happening, World War I was being fought. I don't know how many of you have done world history with me, but to take the benefit of the doubt, you would know that World War I was being fought between Britain, France, USSR, the USA, not USSR, yeah, USSR versus Germany, Italy, not Italy, Germany, Austria, and Ottoman Empire. Can we write 10th April incident only 14th if asked? Yes, Priya, you can do that. Now, these two countries, after this is the losing side, this is the winning side. Germany and Austrian Empire had been punished through what we call as the Treaty of Versailles. If you have any idea about world history, you would know. If you don't, trust me, the worst of the worst of the worst treaties in the world, the reason for the Second World War, was Treaty of Versailles itself. There has been no worst treaty in the world after the First World War. Britain and France will impose this on Germany and Austria. Germany will be dismembered. Austria will be divided into Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Austria, and Transylvania. Whole Central Europe will be created as a jigsaw puzzle. But what was left was this country called Ottoman Empire, or area called Ottoman Empire. Now, the treaty was going to be called as Treaty of Sevres, and it was planned in May of 1920. That it will start around March, Aprilish, and it will end by May. This was the tentative date given by the British. But when we talk about the Ottoman Empire has a very important place in the history of the Muslim community and Muslims itself, because the Ottoman Sultan is not just a sultan, he's a political and religious leader of all Muslims in the world. And this position is called Khalifa. It's called Khalifa or Khalifa, and Ottoman Sultan is called a Caliphate. So basically, in these fighting things, the Treaty of Versailles, immaterial to you right now, really don't care. The Treaty of Sevres is something which will impact everybody, because if the Treaty of Versailles humiliated Germany and Austria, Britain and France would do the same with Ottomans. Yes or no? Would do the same with Ottomans, which is basically humiliate the Khalifa. Now, humiliating the Khalifa is basically like humiliating the Pope. The Pope is the head of all Christians in the world. Same way, Khalifa is the head of all Muslims in the world. So what happens is that whilst the by April 18th April Rowlatt Satyagraha is over, by December of 1919, a new movement starts across the world in what is called as the Khilafat movement. And the Khilafat movement aim was, do not humiliate the Khalifa and the power, honor, and the areas under Khalifa should not be taken. And basically, Khalifa should not be treated as the Germans and Austrians were treated after the war. And this Khilafat movement, I hope now you understand why it's called Khilafat. The word Khalifa plus At, Khilafat movement, it basically will manifest itself in Indian subcontinent under two brothers, Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali, together known as the Ali brothers, and they will start what is the concept of All India Khilafat movement. All India Khilafat movement. And the idea was very simple: create pressure on the British to do this. To do this. Just to repeat myself, Khalifa is a word which is given to the Ottoman Sultan, who is the political and religious leader of all Muslims in the world. Khilafat movement starts not just in India but everywhere, in a way to stop the humiliation of the Khalifa. It was to create pressure on the British so that it does not do the same as it did to Germany and to Austria, and honor the Khalifa as much as possible. Khalifa as much as possible. So Khilafat movement is a parallel thing which came up by December of 1919, which was a Muslim centric movement. And the basic idea is that the Khilafat institution, which means the office of the Khalifa, and the Khalifa or the Caliph of Turkey was regarded as spiritual and political head of all Muslims in the world. Turkey, along with Germany, lost the war. The victory of Allied forces imposed humiliating treaty on Germany, and similar was going to happen on Turkey. Turkey was going to be dismembered, and Khalifa would be removed out of power. So Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali now argued that Khalifa should retain control over sacred places. He should be left with sufficient territory, and the Zariat ul Arab, which is Arabia, Syria, Iraq, and Palestine, must remain under Muslim sovereignty. And leaders such as Abdul Kalam Azad, Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, Ajmal Khan, and Hassan Mohani were also related to this movement. The fact was the Khilafat movement was becoming very quickly a very important movement across the world. Are we clear about this? Khalifa does not mean successor. Khalifa means political religious leader of all Muslims in the world. Are we clear? Khalifa and Khalisa both are different, right? Yes. Khalisa means land, Baki Khalisa. Khalifa is a position. Khalifa is a title. You can be also a Khalifa if you are the political and religious head of all Muslims in the world. So very simply, Khalifa is a position. Turkish Sultan was the Khalifa, and therefore is a leader, and therefore Khilafat movement starts. Now there are two things which are happening in India at one point of time. One is that people are angry about Punjab wrongs, and the other is the fact that you have the Khilafat movement, which is related to the First World War. Now, you first straightforward tell me, do you understand these two words which I have written? What does the Khilafat movement mean? What does the Punjab wrongs mean? If this makes sense, then only we talk about how Gandhi is going to bring both of them together. Yes? Punjab wrongs, Khilafat movement. Punjab wrongs related to the concept of Jallianwala Bagh. Khilafat movement related to the concept, very simple, straightforward concept of the Muslims trying to protect their own spiritual leader. Okay. Now Gandhi after basically failing in the Rowlatt Satyagraha, was looking at these two events. Was looking at these two events, and the idea is very simple. The idea is very simple. One is that this is Hindu centric, Hindu Sikh centric, and this is Muslim centric. Gandhi could also see that communalism was rising, wherein since 1909 separate electorates, more and more pronounced form of schisms and divisions were emerging between the Muslims and Hindus as engineered by the British. So now Gandhi saw an opportunity here. Gandhi saw an opportunity here that he could bring these things together and he could have a all India movement based on Hindu Muslim unity. Muslim unity. Was Khilafat movement supported by Hindu leaders? Hindu leaders' support does not matter. It's a very specific Muslim movement. It's not a thing which impacts Hindus. But Gandhi will make it something which will impact everybody. Now, simple point is, one is Punjab wrongs, which we already know, which is Jallianwala Bagh, the story which is coming from here. And one is the story which is coming from here. Both stories converge in 1919, which is that before the Treaty of Sevres, Gandhi now tries to use both these events to launch a second movement within a year. Now, what happens is unemployment is there, inflation is there, wartime hardship is there. The Jallianwala Bagh has already happened. We already know that government of India in 1919 was not working very well. Diarchy was useless. Lucknow Pact has already brought everybody together. We already know that, which we saw just before the Rowlatt Satyagraha itself. And the Khilafat movement was rising. Now, Khilafat movement was initially a very independent movement to the INC. The INC has no role in the initial period of Khilafat. Because as I told you, Khilafat is a very specific thing to Muslims. Within the Khilafat movement, when the All India Khilafat conference will happen, and it will happen, Gandhi will be chosen as a president, as the president. So now Gandhi is basically using the Khilafat movement and understanding what is the basic idea here. And Gandhi was needed by Khilafat because Gandhi getting associated with the Khilafat would make Khilafat bigger. And Gandhi needed Khilafat because he wanted to bring the Muslims closer to the INC in a way. And what the All India Khilafat Conference, the Ali brothers, they argued was that our program is going to be called as the non-cooperation program. And the non-cooperation program was, we will boycott everything. We will boycott everything. Schools, colleges, and foreign cloth. Is this something new for the Indian subcontinent? Is this something new for the Indian subcontinent? No. This is not new for the Indian subcontinent. But where did we see this previously? Where did we see this previously? School, college, foreign, boycott. We had seen it in the Swadeshi movement. But one interesting thing about this program was boycott of councils. Boycott of councils, be it provincial legislative council or Central Legislative Council. Now, this is a very interesting point. You need to understand this. If I create a whole council, if the British create a big council and they play this game called separate electorates, the only way this system works is when we cooperate or non-cooperate. When we cooperate, only when you cooperate with the British government of India, then only this system makes sense. Only then this system makes sense. So basically, what Ali brothers said was that if we don't enter the councils, if we ask every Muslim to not enter the council, then what's the point of separate electorates itself? And this is the unique aspect about non-cooperation as proposed by Khilafat, because they wanted to go beyond just school, college, and foreign cloth. They wanted to show to the British that if we don't cooperate, your machinery also does not work. And therefore, a very interesting program was set up by Gandhi and the Ali brothers, wherein systematically they would take away cooperation away from the British. The INC still is not linked to the non-cooperation Khilafat, but Gandhi wanted the INC to become a part of this movement. Now, INC's entry into non-cooperation and Khilafat was blocked by two issues. One, which is Tilak's objection, and second, council entry, block or boycott. Now, Bal Gangadhar Tilak was very clear in saying that INC should not take up communal or religious issue. He very categorically said that cooperation based on communal issues makes no sense. And on the other side of the spectrum, the members who were already members of PLC and CLC were saying, why should we? So basically, one, Tilak is saying that there's no point taking a religious issue like Khilafat. And second is the people who had fought the elections, did all the hard work. Now, when they are asked that boycott the council, so they're a little bit apprehensive that why you clear this examination after 3 years of struggle, and then I tell you in protest, leave this examination, leave the position you've got. You will show a little bit of inertia because you will be like, why so much work we did to become this IS officer? Now you're asking me to boycott or leave the IS position itself. So they were this part is hesitating, which is the council entry one, and this part, Tilak's objection was that I will not let something like this get associated with the INC. And till Tilak is alive, Gandhi does not want to go against Bal Gangadhar Tilak. So till 31st August 1920, Gandhi will not be able to convince the INC. Ironically, Khilafat will start around the December 1919 period, and May of 1920, Treaty of Sevres had happened. And Treaty of Sevres will do the same to Ottomans as Germans. And from May to August 1920, NCM and Khilafat was intensifying. So INC still not part. INC still not part. They had moved away from just boycotting the councils. Now Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali said that we will resign from ICS, we will resign from the army, we will resign from everywhere where a Muslim is. And Gandhi wanted this movement to succeed, and he wanted INC to become a part of it. And the INC stand, which is based on Tilak's objection over the Muslim leaders' religious issue getting absorbed, and the others, which was about boycott of council itself, where leaders like C.R. Das were not willing to give up. The fact was Gandhi was getting approval on all issues, but Tilak was still alive. And Muslim League was also ready to support the INC to become a part of Khilafat. And that breakthrough will happen when on 31st August 1920, after Tilak had breathed his last breathe in on 1st August. So basically 1st August 1920, Tilak will die. And once Tilak will die, by 31st August 1920, INC was ready to be a part of NCM Khilafat. So basically, Gandhi was able to convince. And that is why in September of 1920, the Calcutta special session will happen, under which the following program will be accepted. This was the NCM program for INC plus Khilafat plus Muslim League. And the idea was, we will boycott colleges and schools. We will boycott law courts and wherever justice is dispensed. And it will be now taken up by panchayats. Boycott of legislative councils. And more importantly, boycott of foreign cloth. Khadi will be used. Renunciation of government honors and titles. And the idea was that NCM is going to go on for a year, and then it will become a mass civil disobedience. So this was phase 1. This was phase 2. Khilafat is different from Muslim League. Muslim League is a party. Khilafat is a movement. In phase 2, they would go for resignation of government service and non-payment of rent. And what Gandhi had argued was that if we can keep up this tempo of NCM then into CDM, within 1 year or at least 2 years, we will get Swaraj. And this program is basically adopted by the INC at the special session. But when in December they meet, they again take a very important pledge. In December 1920, at the Nagpur session, they will formally endorse NCM. But what is more important is, at Nagpur session, 2 major changes happen. Major changes to INC. The first change is that for the first time, the INC says that it will now not just protest constitutionally, which was basically the moderate method, but extra constitutional anti-British struggle is now the means. Basically, it was saying that it will now be ready to break the law and it will now be ready to go against the British. This is very significant. This is very significant. So now instead of attainment of self-government through constitutional, Congress will now attain Swaraj through peaceful, legitimate means, which may be extra constitutional mass struggle. Extra constitutional mass struggle would mean break laws, no cooperation, and basically now the moderate approach was fully abandoned. Moderate approach fully abandoned. Will be abandoned. I'll check it out, Mallikarjun. I'll talk about. I'll get this sorted if this is the case. Okay. The second change. Non-cooperation means non-cooperation to what? Non-cooperation with British machinery, British concepts, British government, anything. You cannot cooperate with me also. So non-cooperation is non-cooperation. Now, the first change is extra constitutional method. Second change is equally important. Second change is a new structure is put into place, wherein Congress becomes a three-tiered system, which it till today is. It has the AICC or CWC, it has the PWC, and it has the Ward Congress Committee. One is called All India Congress Committee, or also called the Central Congress, rather Congress Working Committee. Congress Working Committee. And second was Provincial Working Committee, and this is Ward Congress Committee. Now, basically, this way, the INC is now three levels. One which works at the highest level by the INC, second which works at the provincial level, and the other one which was worked at the grassroots level. Basically, 2-3 wards together make one district. And they reduced the membership to 4 annas, and now the INC was fully ready to be part of the non-cooperation properly. Now, before I go into the details, let me try to consolidate what I've done till this point. I started with discussing with you the concept of Rowlatt, Jallianwala Bagh, and what is called as the Punjab wrongs. I believe that you are clear about that side of the story, which is that is the concept of Congress, the Punjab wrongs. So the Punjab wrongs existed before even the Khilafat movement started. And here comes the First World War I impact, which is called Treaty of Sevres. Treaty of Sevres. Treaty of Sevres was now going to be the trigger for what is called as the Khilafat movement. Khilafat movement and non-cooperation is something which was a truly original plan of the Ali brothers, along with Gandhi. Punjab wrongs was something which the INC was very angry about. Gandhi will try to bring these movements between December 1919 and August 1920 together, but it will not happen. But once Tilak will die, what will happen is that that the idea of Khilafat plus NCM plus INC plus Muslim League would lead to what is called as the All India Non-Cooperation Program. And herein, the concept was that in Calcutta session, which is a special session, this is endorsed. But once the Congress endorses something like this as a special session, it now wants to become more popular in character. And the INC, therefore, in Nagpur 1920, changes its orientation by saying that now we will go for extra constitutional methods, which are breaking laws. And second, we will change the structure. And the structure was now going to be AICC, PWC, and W Congress Working Committee, WCC, and it will make it more popular character. This is what I have been telling you when I have been showing you this basic timeline. Are we clear about these two things? When I have showed you this timeline, I'm trying to show you this only. We've reached till this point. Vallabhbhai Patel is part of the NCM, yes, because it's part of the INC. Are we clear? Sayan, you would have to read newspaper for better vocabulary. Are we clear how these two things come together and how Nagpur is a very important moment? Because now the Congress has called itself to be bigger than what it was. Moderate mentality has been fully abandoned. So Gandhi now wanted a movement after the failure of the Rowlatt Satyagraha. He wanted to now go for a movement which could bring two issues together. Punjab wrongs coming from this side, Khilafat coming from this side. He did it throughout 1920. It is only after Tilak's death that it became clear that he could do it forward. And therefore, informal endorsement on 31st, formal endorsement on September and December of 1920. Was Gandhi making a mistake by bringing communal movement and national movement as the unity would be superfluous and would take common goals of independence? No. Khilafat was a very good movement. Gandhi's attempt was to undercut communalism. This was not a mistake. In no way it was a mistake. It is rather a masterstroke. Because nowhere before this or nowhere forward to this was there anything which will bring Hindus, Muslims together first. Basically, Vallabhbhai Patel is a part of the NCM. Yes, Parshuram, I've said 3 times now. Simple point is that this is a masterstroke. Because if Khilafat would have gone forward either way, you tell me, is INC necessary for Khilafat? No. INC is not necessary for Khilafat. Because Khilafat issue is very specific to Muslims and very specific to the Khalifa. So either the INC ignores it or INC uses this moment to show that the INC also wants to be part of the Muslim India or Muslim population. It cares about it. So Gandhi's belief after 1909, after 1915 when he came back, was to undercut communalism. He's done it all throughout his period. He knew that if he can show to the British that Hindus and Muslims can come together, maybe the British will not use the Muslims against the INC. To be very honest, this is a masterstroke because Tilak's objection is justified, but non-cooperation can only become all India level movement when INC joins it, and INC needed to shake off its moderate mentality, and that was shaken off in 1920. So Punjab wrongs plus Khilafat issue, which brings in INC Muslim League together, is equal to non-cooperation. Now, non-cooperation will take multiple forms everywhere. That is a separate issue altogether. I will read that out to you. First, understand if somebody asks you why, or what are the reasons, what is the cause for NCM, NCM, cause and build up. Is this clear? Is this clear? Okay. Come on, everybody. Now, Sai Krishna, what is the issue? Punjab wrong, Khilafat, Gandhi brings it together, non-cooperation. It's not rocket science. It's not that difficult. Okay. Now, November 1919, All India Khilafat Conference held in Delhi called for the boycott of British goods. Khilafat leaders also clearly spelled out that unless peace terms were favorable towards Turkey, they would stop all cooperation with the government. Gandhi, the president of All India Khilafat Conference, saw the possibility of mass united non-cooperation. Was extremist mentality person also come with Gandhiji? Yes, yes. NCM was very well taken. Uh, Everybody came together. Home Rule League, what we call as Gandhi, INC, Muslim League. One of the best moments when it comes to cooperation. Because after this, we will never see this type of cooperation when it comes to Hindu-Muslim unity. Never after this. Now, February 1920, a joint Hindu-Muslim delegation was sent to Viceroy to seek redress of grievances on issues of Khilafat, but the mission failed. Gandhi announced that the issues of Punjab, wrongs and constitutional advance had been overshadowed by the Khilafat question, and that should soon lead to a movement of non-cooperation if terms of the peace treaty failed to satisfy the Indian Muslims. And therefore, May 1920, the Treaty of Sevres will dismember Turkey. Dismember means dismantle Turkey. All party conference will happen in Allahabad, approving the program for boycott of schools, colleges, law court. Gandhi was asked to lead it. 31st August 1920, the Khilafat Committee started the non-cooperation movement once Tilak was not alive. September, at the special session at Calcutta, the Congress will approve the non-cooperation till Punjab and Khilafat wrongs were not removed. Now you see how they're talking about Punjab and Khilafat together. This is what Gandhi needed and wanted for the movement. Now further, the program which will be adopted will be this one, which is boycott everything. And 1 year after the NCM is successful, we will go for the next set, which is the civil disobedience. Sevres is not in Ottoman Empire; it is in Eastern Europe. Now, at this stage, once the INC says that we will go for extra constitutional method, 2-3 people will leave the Congress. Jinha, who is always everywhere, but he will leave the Congress saying that I cannot take this extra constitutional method. I am a loyalist. Annie Besant, Kapadre, and BC, but Bipin Chandrapal. Bipin Chandrapal did not like the fact that the Khilafat issue had been taken, much like Tilak. And Surendranath Banerjee will then later develop his own party called the Indian National Liberal Front, but it will not basically be successful in any way or form. Now, Gandhi declared that if non-cooperation program was properly implemented, within 1 year we will be getting independence, Swaraj. Many revolutionaries, especially in Bengal, supported the Congress activities. Gandhi was now accompanying Ali brothers in the nationwide tour. Students left the government schools, government they joined national schools. English education institutions were boycotted. I will give you a flowchart, don't worry. Thereafter, new institutions were developed with Acharya Narendra, C.R. Das, Rajput Rai, Zakir Hussain. Subhash Chandra Bose will become the first principal of the National College at Calcutta itself. Thereafter, English cloth were boycotted and foreign cloths were burnt publicly, and imports will fall by half. Khadi was promoted. Picketing will happen everywhere. All lawyers, mostly INC's lawyers, they will give up on their practice. Further social boycott will happen. The Tilak Swaraj Fund will be created so that people can help in the non-cooperation movement struggle. 1 crore rupees was collected, oversubscribed. Congress volunteers will now become parallel police. The Ali brothers will in July say that Muslims should leave the army also, and they will basically get arrested for this. The Gandhi will echo for the same that local Congress governments should capture power, should become the most important governing body itself. Congress said that we are now ready and poised for a civil disobedience. So the movement is going very, very well from August of 1920. From August of 1920, the movement has picked up pace. It's picked up pace. I'll give you the characteristics on one slide. Now, no tax campaign will start in Midnapur and Guntur. In Assam, there will be tea plantation strikes under J.M. Sengupta. When the visit of Prince of Wales is going to happen in November of 1921, the fact was that he was hounded by a crowd. If the crowd had their way, they would have thrown his car into the Arabian Sea, but he evaded it by basically running around in Bombay. Multiple peasant movements will start. The British will try to break the unity between Gandhi and Ali brothers. Reading was the viceroy by saying that Ali brothers are trying to arouse violence and you don't talk about violence. The fact was that Gandhi realized that the government was trying to divide a wedge between the Khilafat leaders and the INC, and he will not say anything till a moment which happens on February 5th February 1922. But before I do that, I need to discuss with you the features of the non-cooperation. In a way, we can say that Gandhi saw opportunity to bring both communities together. Yes, Tilak death happened because of health issues, diabetes. Very good, very good. Okay. Now, what I told you is immaterial because that you cannot write in the examination. But what are the features of the non-cooperation movement? This is what we have to cover. Now, when we talk about the features of the non-cooperation, NCM, we have Khilafat issue is intrinsic to the movement. Justice for the Khalifa. Punjab wrongs. Rowlatt and Jallianwala Bagh. Then boycott schools, colleges, councils, goods, cloth, liquor, and the idea of glass enterprises. Jinnah is loyalist to the British. He is loyal to the British. Obviously, he's loyal to the British. Then we see student and women's participation. Further, Hindu Muslim unity. No rent campaigns. Peasant movements and worker strikes. If you write any of this in the examination, write two lines on it. It will become enough. What is NCM? Expand NCM. Non-cooperation movement. Don't do this. A lot of you are sleeping for some reason. But I've been saying non-cooperation movement for the past 1.5 hours, and you're asking me what is NCM? Can we say Khilafat is a show of strength of unity to the British? Sure. Now, this is basically NCM for you. Are we clear? Glass and enterprises. Are we clear about non-cooperation, its features? Trade unions is a little bit later. 1920 they were there, but they will become more important after 1923-ish period. Okay. What is no rent campaign? Shreyas, were you there last week? No rent means not giving rent to the British. A lot of you are asking very fundamental questions. Either you are not there last week or you're not revising over the week. Either way, I can't help you. No rent means not giving rent to the British. Okay. 5th February 1922. Now, September 1920 they started. You can write, yes, example of each feature can be given and that is done. September 1920, the movement starts. And it has already been 1st January 1922. NCM was in full flow. But it has been now 2 years, close to 2 years. Did Swaraj come? No. So now this movement is NCM is overheating. No result, no consequence. So Gandhi can see that. Gandhi is now looking for a truce. He has been struggling. He's looking for a truce. The British did not care about NCM. And on 5th February 1922, that truce is going to come. And that truce is that in a small village in UP, Chauri Chora, there was a crowd which was there on which Khilafat and INC leaders, INC members were there. The police will shoot this crowd, and what will happen is that whilst the British will shoot on this crowd, the members of the crowd will then run after the police, 26 of them. The 26 to 22, we don't know the exact number, 22, 26 police officers went inside a police station, and the mob locked the door and burnt this police station. 22 to 26 police officers were dead. And now Gandhi can see that the people are getting frustrated, and the frustration was becoming violence. And as it is, he was looking for a truce. Now, the last time 2-3 Britishers and 2-3 people were dead, what did the British do? What did the British do? There were British police officers. Out of the 26, at least 6 or 7 were British police officers. The last time violence happened from Indian side, Jallianwala Bagh happened. Now, Chauri Chaura, multiple Europeans are dead. Now, people tend to say that Chauri Chaura, Gandhi withdrew because violence happened. But basically, Gandhi withdrew the non-cooperation, and got arrested for Chauri Chaura. For 6 years, he was sentenced to jail so that he could avoid another Jallianwala Bagh. So people called Gandhi a coward. Everybody was in shock. Nobody actually understood what was happening. But Gandhi understood that if he did not withdraw this movement, he does not call off this movement, the British will retaliate. The fact is that everybody felt that an isolated event of violence should not have stopped an all India movement. Every leader was disillusioned. Subhash Chandra Bose called it a national calamity. Jawaharlal Nehru was also not very clear that why should the peasants be the one stopping the whole movement. But nobody understood this, that Chauri Chaura was exactly like 10th April 1919. And if Gandhi would have not called off NCM, as it is, he was looking for a truce. If he had not called off the NCM on 13th February 1922, and then go to the British and say that I am the reason why these people burnt this police station, Gandhi staged arrest and took all the blame on himself so that the British would then not think of taking revenge, rather jail Gandhi, get the satisfaction in jailing Gandhi. So nobody talks about this, nobody gives credit to Gandhi about the fact that he literally avoided a new Jallianwala Bagh. How can we compare 1922 with 1919? I'm doing that right now. 1919 also, Amritsar violence happens. Revenge is taken by Dyer on 13th April 1919. If you see Chauri Chaura also, Europeans are dead, burning has happened, a small city, a small town has shown violence. The point was, if you use violence with the British, they will retaliate with violence. And therefore, Jallianwala Bagh was something which was going to happen in a new form, and Gandhi needed to avoid it. So Chauri Chaura, you can call it a truce or you can call it a moment in which Gandhi literally avoided another Jallianwala Bagh. So since the morning, we have discussed Rowlatt Satyagraha, Jallianwala Bagh, struggle, truce, then struggle, which is Rowlatt Satyagraha, Jallianwala Bagh, then again non-cooperation, and then truce, Chauri Chaura. Struggle, truce. But this truce was to avoid this, which is Jallianwala Bagh. Gandhi saved India from another massacre. And this is a very important point you need to understand. This is a great example of Gandhi's understanding of the national movement. Gandhi knew that if we do violence, the British will do 1000% more. You can agree or disagree. He did avoid a second Jallianwala Bagh. So very simply, Rowlatt, Jallianwala. What are the features of Rowlatt? Amritsar violence, Jallianwala Bagh. Non-cooperation, issue, feature, and why Chauri Chaura was the moment where he took a break. It's a truce because NCM was overheating, not achieving what it wanted. and avoid another Jallianwala Bagh. If you understand this, we take a small breather and we come back and talk about the most interesting 1923 to 1927 period, in which we have to first discuss Swarajist no changers. If Gandhi didn't took the blame, then it would be a bigger Jallianwala Bagh through Priya. Yes. Are we all on the same page with regards to this? NCM slide is this. You want NCM slide? This is the NCM slide. Are we all on the same page? Because in the examination, you have to write about the Jallianwala Bagh repetition if it comes in the exam. Yes? Okay, perfect. So we come back at 2:25 and we take the story forward. Yes? Non-cooperation, we'll do Swarajist no changes, then we'll take the lunch break. See, people blame Gandhi, but Gandhi did it, took the blame, but avoided something much bigger than what it could have been. Yes, Gandhi was a true leader that way, successfully called, in a way, successfully evaded another major moment. It is his morals and ethics. People talk about him being a coward, but he made sure that another Jallianwala Bagh does not happen, took all the blame on himself. Okay, see you. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, one thing I want to point out to you is that if you look at your dashboard for tomorrow, I think, as pointed out to be my, there are two lecture, modern history lecture 10, post independence 1, 10 and 4. So, though it says post independence, we'll do modern day only. And what I'll do is that on 16th December, which is Saturday, we will start early. For example, from 12 to 8. No, we will start at 10 to 8, and we'll make up for those 2 hours. Because I don't want to rush independence. I want to give it that time in that sense, and we will surely and in a more proper way reach independence by tomorrow evening. That way, the most critical area is done. One weekend we finish post independence. Acceptable? Yes, because anyway, if I try to pick it up and can do it by 4, it will just jeopardize the area which is more critical in that sense. So we are 1.5 hours up down, but we'll make that up. Okay. What kinds of councils boycotted? Legislative council, the what we call as provincial legislative council, council of states, central legislative council, these things. Okay, now Gandhi has been arrested. Gandhi is in jail. NCM has been called off. There is disillusionment. And Khilafat issue is also dead. Because of the fact that there was a person called Mustafa Kamal Pasha. Mustafa Kamal Pasha. He has basically made Turkey into a secular state, and they abolish the Khalifa position itself. So Turkish rule abolishes Khalifa position, and therefore there's further disillusionment because now nationalism reaches a low point. Now, response to this is twofold. One is called revolutionary activities part 2, which I will discuss with you after the break, which is HRA, HSRA, and Bhagat Singh. And the other one is the INC response, which we will do right now. First, second. So we are now covering the period between 1922 February till 1927, and what this period is known for is called No Changers and Swarajist period or struggle within the INC. Can we discuss this Swarajist No Changers? Okay, very good. Now, there's again a timeline here. And the timeline goes like this: 1922, 1923. 1st is 1st January 1923. Then you have the story of the period between 1st January 1923 and 1924, the Gaya session. Gaya session here. This is Swarajist party. Then you have the May-June compromise, 1923. Then 1924, 1925, 1926, 1927. 1927. And the idea here is very simple, is very simple, that we have to see how does the compromise work, and this is the period of the struggle between Swarajist no changers, Gandhi's release, thereafter responsivist, non-responsivist. Then 26 is Swarajist weak, and this is Simon Commission. Simon Commission. I'm giving you a tentative timeline. When we are back from the break, I give you a much more solidified one because I want to discuss the concept of Swarajist no changes, and then we'll go into event by event. So this is basically the timeline we're coming from Gaya session till Simon Commission. This is the basic idea. This is a basic idea. Now, let's talk about the concept. Let's talk about the concept. Now, out of all the boycotts, which was the most newest form of boycott? Which is the newest form of boycott? It is the council. It is the council. Boycott of council was something which was totally new. Now tell me one thing very clearly. If the INC does not fight elections, which is basically boycott of council, if it does not fight elections, does nobody fight elections? Does nobody fight elections? Give me the right answer. No. If they don't fight, someone else will. So you have the Central Legislative Council, you have the Council of State, you have the Provincial Legislative Councils. All of these bodies have Indian representation. Now, under NCM, INC boycotted filing nomination and fighting elections for these seats. And this is part of the non-cooperation program itself. But what was happening was that the British meanwhile filled these seats with loyalists, pro-British Indians, and there are many. And if you look at the whole government of India, it now looked like a very non-nationalist body, because there is no opposition, no challenge, no opposition, no challenge. Basically, the councils had now become a peaceful area for British. You don't want to be a part of it, someone else will be. This is what C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru were able to interpret. British are part of the council, yes. The Governor General Viceroy presides over them. There are official members. They are not nominated. They will ask the loyalists to just fill the election forms. If the British want, they can make anybody win the election. And the fact of the matter is that if INC is not fighting, someone else will fight. I stand as an independent candidate. I am fighting and I will win it. The simple point is that this central legislative, if somebody came to India in 1923 and somebody asked that are Indians satisfied with the 1919 Act, the answer would be what? If somebody said that are Indians satisfied by 1919 Act, the answer would be yes, because they will say that see, all people have joined the councils and they are basically puppets of the British who have got elected. But how the people are voted to them, voting already is very limited. If the British want to manipulate something, they will manipulate. To be very honest, if the British want these people to be there, they will win. Even if nobody votes, somebody will vote. Someone will vote for sure. So the fact of the matter is now the councils have become actually a very cohesive area. The British would like this arrangement, that the INC does not contest elections only. That it does not contest elections, because that ways the INC stays away from the body itself. See, understand this point. Understand this point that British have created a drama called the PLC, CLC, and the Council of State. All of this is called representative government. And if all these areas INC is not there, there is no chick, there's no issues only. And if somebody asks that the Government of India 1919 Act, is it working well? They will say, yes, Indians are satisfied with the representative government. Are you understanding the issue in boycotting the councils? Are you understanding the issues in boycotting the councils? And this is basically what C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru are also pointing out. They are saying that boycotting the councils is becoming now counterproductive. It is counterproductive. So basically, when Gandhi went to jail, he said, keep the NCM alive and do constructive work, which is khadi, which is helping the poor, helping the people of India. Stay away from councils. But now there's a faction which emerges within the INC, which are called the Swarajists. Their argument is that the boycott of council is becoming counterproductive, and British have filled the whole PLC, CLC, and Council of State with loyalists. And their argument is very simple. Let us fight elections again, remove boycott of council, remove boycott of council, and very simply create a new front within them. So the idea is very simple: disrupt the British legislative process from within. And the idea was press coverage, speeches, motions will show to the people that nationalism is still alive. Does the Swarajist logic make sense? It's logical. But there's a faction within the British, between the INC, which says that they are called no changers. They're called no changers because they want to continue boycott of councils as said by Gandhi. Council entry shows cooperation and the power within it may corrupt nationalist resolve. Nationalist resolve. Over and above that, they want to continue the constructive work of Gandhi. Here the examples are, for example, Vallabhbhai Patel, you have Rajendra Prasad, you have C. Raja Gopalachari, you have, for example, Vithalbhai Patel, etc. And here you have C.R. Das and Moti Lal Nehru. So basically, if I bring both logics together, Swarajist, no changers, both want nationalism alive, but their methods are different. Why the ancient people are not independently fought the councils? Here you are thinking that every Indian is the same. Not every Indian is against the Britisher at this point of time. There are collaborators. Swarajists, council entry to create a new front and use the councils to disrupt the governmental work new front of nationalism. While on the other hand, No changes argument is no to council entry. Nationalism gets corrupted if we cooperate and contest elections. Constructive work keep constructive work keep the spirit, keep the NCM spirit alive. It's not moderate extremists. They are both talking about the same thing, but in different ways. Is this making sense? Swarajist no changers? See, there is a lot of disillusionment. Motilal Nehru, Siya Das formed the Swaraj Party, which we'll discuss. By March 1922, Gandhi arrested 6 years in jail. Turkey had now Kamal Pasha, who has now made it into a secular state with proper modern rights to women and everything. Now, one section led by Siya Das, Motilal Nehru, Ajmal Khan wanted to end the boycott of legislative council so that the nationalists could enter them to expose the basic weakness of the assemblies, use these councils as an arena of political struggle and popular enthusiasm. They wanted, in other words, end or mend the councils. If the government did not respond to the nationalist demands, they would obstruct the working of the councils. They were called Swarajists. On the other hand, you have the no changers. This school of thought wanted to concentrate on constructive work, as said by Gandhi. No changes opposed council entry, advocated concentration on constructive work, continuing on boycott, and quiet propagation of the NCM and be ready for CDM. And this is basically the argument. The argument of the Swarajist id is that entering the councils won't negate non-cooperation. In fact, be like carrying into a new front. Entry of nationalists would deter the government from stuffing the council with undesirable elements and provide legitimacy to the government. Their only intention was to use the council as an arena of political struggle. They had no intention to use the councils as an organ of gradual transformation of. No. They said, we're not there to reform, we are there to reject. And the no changer argument was, no changers argued that parliament work would be led to negate to the constructive work, loss of revolutionary zeal and political corruption. Constructive work would also prepare everybody for civil disobedience. They said that Gandhiji, who was in jail at this point of time, would have wanted this, but he's sitting on the fence. Simple point is, they said that let's create a new front. They said that we will not create a new front. If we are clear about this, we'll take the break, lunch break. Come back at 3:40 and discuss their politics, and I'll give you a timeline for their politics itself. Clear? Swarajist no changes difference is clear. This comes in the examination. Can come as what is the difference between Swarajist and no changes stance? Yes, perfect. So we'll now meet after lunch at 3:40 and we'll take the story forward. Okay. Join from part B.